24-year-old Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, seen here in photos by the DailyMail.com, was hired as the film's armorer, in charge of all weapons on set. The daughter of a famous Hollywood armorer, Rust was only her second film in this role. She spoke to the Voices of the West podcast about working as lead armorer for her first film before Rust.
I was really nervous about it at first, and I almost didn't take the job because I wasn't sure if I was ready, but doing it, it went really smoothly.
We spent an hour and a half shooting the pistol, her giving me all her safety instructions.
Did you think she was up to the job?
I assumed because she was there and she was hired, she was up for the job.
And nothing she did raised any red flags with you?
Well, howdy folks, it's your favorite neighborhood watchman. It's here again with back-to-back videos on Alec Baldwin. This time Alec is going on about fearing for his life from Donald Trump. Yes, as loony as that sounds, this is what he's saying. As the article's author in our last video, Maureen Callahan, had commented, Alec Baldwin always manages to make it about himself. He's the victim. He's fearful. His life is in danger. Never mind Halyna Hutchins or her widowed husband and motherless son. Oh no, we must sympathize and feel sorry for Alec. So to go on with this article from the New York Post, not by Maureen Callahan this time, but by Gabriel Hayes. Okay, this photo is captioned with Alec Baldwin explained his safety concerns after Donald Trump shared his thoughts on a shooting. Because we're not allowed to share our opinions, evidently. So to go on with the article, during an exclusive CNN, of course, a reputable news source, to repeat, during an exclusive CNN interview, actor Alec Baldwin stated that the only time he was worried about the consequences of the fatal Rust movie set shooting was after former President Donald Trump weighed in on the tragedy. Implying that his physical safety was in danger, Baldwin claimed that Trump had instructed people to commit acts of violence on January 6th, and now he was pointing fingers at me. Oh, what a narcissist. Okay, buddy. Yeah, a bunch of the MAGA hat wearing mob is coming after you, huh? Well, it's been over 10 months now. How come they didn't get you? How come you ain't buried 6 feet under? Just another one of those mysteries we'll never find the answer to. To continue, CNN, it's hard for me to say that without chuckling, CNN Newsday aired Baldwin's interview with CNN entertainment reporter Chloe Milas on Friday, where they discussed the fallout from the tragic shooting on the Hollywood set of the movie Rust. Baldwin maintained during his interview that he didn't pull the trigger, telling Milas, I never once said, never, that the gun went off in my hand automatically. I always said I pulled the hammer back, and I pulled it back as far as I could. I never took a gun and pointed it at somebody and clicked the thing. Nah, the bullet made a turn like a guided missile and went straight at Halyna. He never pointed at her. It was the bullet. Donald Trump created that bullet, a guided bullet. To continue, Baldwin also noted that he hired his own private investigator to look into the alleged accident, who was assured by the sheriff's department that he would not be charged over the Rust shooting. Now, there should be no consequences at all for taking someone's life. That private investigator, as you probably know, did not have a difficult time accessing the staff of the sheriff's department. And that person told us, quote unquote, we have known in the department since January that Alec would not be charged with a crime, he explained. Milas spoke to Baldwin's attorney, who insisted that if Baldwin were charged with a crime over the shooting, it would be a huge miscarriage of justice. Yeah, right. Rather a huge miscarriage of injustice. CNN claimed Trump antagonized the actor. Oh, really? But I believe it. I believe Baldwin, damn it. And I know you do too. CNN claimed Trump antagonized the actor, stating, "But the then president fanned flames against him." What? He was a president when Baldwin killed Halyna Hutchins. But, though Trump had been out of office for nearly a year by this point. Exactly what I was saying. But this is CNN we're talking about, y'all. CNN. A joke of a network impersonating a news channel, like all the other mainstream media outlets. Now to get back on track here.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Baldwin described to Milas how he was victimized by Trump over the shooting. The former president of the United States said he probably shot her on purpose. Yeah, man. I like the way Trump shoots from the hip. Metaphorically, of course. He then implied that Trump was physically endangering him because he had allegedly done the same to his political enemies on January 6th. Yeah, that's why Trump is still president. To me, that was the only time I thought that I was worried what was going to happen. Because here was Trump, who instructed people to commit acts of violence, and he was pointing the finger at me and saying I was responsible for the death, Baldwin said. Number one, Baldwin, that's a lie. He did not instruct anyone to commit acts of violence, you moron. And he did not literally point a finger at you. You were not worried about Trump. You're worried about having to face the consequences of killing someone through your own negligence. And you were responsible for the death. No one else was holding that gun. Stop trying to pass off the responsibility. Pass the buck, as they say. I would ask you to be a man and man it up. But we all know for you, that's impossible. Deadline Hollywood reported last November that Trump stopped just short of accusing Baldwin of purposely shooting Hutchins, openly pondering maybe he loaded it. As the Hill noted, the former president added he had something to do with it. Yes, he did. As Fox Digital reported, during filming on October 21st, a gun Alec Baldwin was holding discharged during a rehearsal for the film, killing cinematographer Halyna Hutchins. Since the shooting, Baldwin has maintained that the shooting was an accident and that the supposed prop gun had fired off live rounds without him pulling the trigger. Yeah, it loaded itself and it fired itself. Ain't that something? Last December he stated, "The trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger." Though an FBI investigation revealed that, quote, the gun used on a New Mexico movie set could not have been fired without the trigger being pulled, unquote. Scrutiny fell upon the rush set's armorer, Hannah Gutierrez Reed, as to why a gun with live rounds was passed to Baldwin during filming. Gutierrez Reed has since sued Seth Kenney, the man who provided the prop ammunition used by the production team. Gutierrez Reed's lawyers have criticized the Santa Fe, New Mexico Sheriff's Department for not clearing up the question of where the live rounds came from. It has made a conscious decision not to pursue this question at all by refusing to ask the FBI to test any of the rounds for fingerprints or DNA, they said. Remarkable. See a few of these questions or comments on the New York Post comment section. This is the best distraction Baldwin's team could come up with? Evidently. It's amazing how he's still making this all about himself. Exactly what we said in the beginning of this video. And the last one, oh boo-hoo Alec, you freaking shot someone even though you are so anti-gun. The first thing you are taught about firearms is never point it at anyone unless you need to defend yourself. Exactly. Movies always film gunfight scenes from an angle so other people are not in the line of fire, which is something I explained in my first ever video on this tragedy, using Brandon Lee's equally tragic death on a film set of The Crow back in 1993. You're not supposed to point the gun directly at someone. Angles are used to make it seem as if the gun is facing the individual. Even the opponent in a gunfight is not in front of the barrel of the gun. You need to own up to the fact that you are a killer. Well, folks, again, she is forgotten. Baldwin made it about Trump and himself, and the true victim is swept aside. But we haven't forgotten her. And the people interested in justice surely hope that a reckoning is coming upon Baldwin. Justice and the consequences for his actions and or inactions that led to this wrongful death, needless death, on a set of Rust. Well, folks, I thank you if you've been watching and listening this far. This isn't a cheery subject for a video, but as you all know, not everything in life is merry, happy, joy, fantastic, and wonderful. So with that said, I shall end it here, and if you agree with the video, like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already done so, and hit the notification bell. I promise the next video will not be about this prick, Alec Baldwin. So as always, stay safe, and I bid you peace.
What are you supposed to be, a clown or something?
Sometimes.
I wish the rain would stop just once.
Can't rain all the time.
Eric?